Hey there, I'm Mia, 28, and currently stuck living with my in-laws. My husband John is working overseas, busting his ass to support us. Sounds like a cushy setup, right? Think again. Welcome to my personal hell. It's another day of scraping by. I'm in the kitchen trying to turn practically nothing into breakfast. Linda, do we have any eggs left? I call out to my mother-in-law. I don't think so, dear, she replies, voice barely above a whisper. Robert hasn't given me money for groceries yet. Later, I'm outside hanging laundry when my neighbor Sandra leans over the fence. Hey Mia, you okay? You're looking pretty stressed. I force a smile. Just the usual, trying to stretch $1 into 100. Sandra frowns, but doesn't John send you guys money? He's making good money overseas, isn't he? Yeah, he does, but I'm cut off by the sound of my phone. It's John, I answer, trying to keep my tone cheerful. Hey, babe. Mia, what's going on? I just sent over $5,000 last week, and you're already asking for more. Where's all the money going? I freeze, my mind racing. $5,000? I've seen maybe $100 tops. John, I don't know what you're talking about. We're barely scraping by here. That's impossible. Dad's handling the finances. He wouldn't. He sighs. Look, I've got to go. We'll talk later. As I hang up, a chill runs through me. Something's very wrong, and I'm starting to realize just how deep this rabbit hole goes. But one thing's for sure, I'm going to get to the bottom of it, no matter what it takes. After that call, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously off. $5,000. Where was all that money going? That night, while Robert was passed out drunk and Linda was glued to her soaps, I snuck into their bedroom. My heart pounded so hard, I thought it would burst. I rifled through the drawers, looking for any hint about our finances. Bingo! I found a stack of bank statements hidden in a false bottom drawer of Robert's desk. My hands shook as I flipped through them. The numbers didn't lie. Robert had been pocketing most of John's money for months. The next day, I confronted Linda. You knew, didn't you? I hissed, thrusting the statements in her face. She burst into tears. I'm so sorry, Mia. Robert, he has a gambling problem. He said he'd stop, but she trailed off, face crumpling. He threatened to leave me if I told anyone. I was scared. My anger simmered, but I softened just a little. Where does he gamble? There's this underground casino. He goes almost every night. That night, I followed Robert. Sure enough, he headed straight to a seedy building downtown. Through the window, I watched him blow through thousands in minutes. Back home, I dug deeper, finding a stash of checks from John, all cashed by Robert. The bastard had even been intercepting our mail. I was seeing red. I stormed into the living room where Robert was slouched in front of the TV. You thieving! I screamed, hurling the evidence at him. Robert's face twisted from shock to rage in an instant. Listen here, you ungrateful little fool, he snarled. You breathe a word of this to Sean, and I'll make sure he never believes you. Who do you think he'll trust? His loving father or his gold-digging wife? Try me, old man. Your days of leeching off us are over. I ran to my room, slamming the door and locking it. My hands shook as I dialed John. Babe, what's wrong? He asked, his voice full of concern. John, listen to me. Your father's been stealing the money you've been sending. He's gambling it all away. There was a long silence. Ma, that's a serious accusation. Are you sure? My heart sank. He didn't believe me. John, I have proof. Bank statements, cash checks. Whoa, slow down. I'm sure there's just been some misunderstanding. Dad wouldn't. John, please, you have to trust me, I pleaded. But suddenly, a loud bang rattled my door. Robert's voice boomed from the hallway. Open this door, you little snake. I'll teach you to go behind my back. Mia, what's going on? Joan's voice crackled through the phone. I have to go, John. Just be careful who you trust. I love you. I hung up, my mind racing as Robert continued pounding on the door, splintering the wood. I was trapped, alone with a raging, drunken thief on the other side. But one thing was clear, this was war and I wasn't about to go down without a fight. The next morning, I woke up with a fire in my gut. Robert might think he'd scared me into submission, but he had no idea who he was messing with. I texted Sandra, who showed up right away. We spent hours plotting, fueled by coffee and simmering rage. By sunset, we had a plan that would make Ocean's 11 look like child's play. Step 1. Get Sean on board. I called him, keeping my voice steady. Babe, I know you're struggling to believe me, but I'm begging you, send the next payment to a new account. One that only I can access. There was a long pause. Okay, Mia, I trust you. Relief washed over me. Now came the hard part. Later, I cornered Robert in the kitchen. I'm sorry about last night, I murmured, forcing the hint of shame into my tone. I was stressed and jumped to conclusions. It won't happen again. Robert narrowed his eyes, then gave a curt nod. See that it doesn't. Over the next few weeks, I played the perfect daughter-in-law. I cooked Robert's favorite meals, laughed at his awful jokes, and never mentioned money. Meanwhile, I was gathering evidence. I planted hidden cameras to catch him counting stolen cash, recorded his shady calls to bookies on a burner phone, and even managed to swipe his old tax returns, proving years of fraud. Then, out of the blue, John's cousin Tom showed up. Surprise visit, he said with a grin. But I caught the glint in his eye. John had sent backup. That night, Tom and I huddled in my room, whispering. I've got an idea, he said, his voice low. But it's risky. The plan was brilliant. Dangerous, but brilliant. The next day, I burst into the house, waving a lottery ticket. Oh my God, I won! I freaking won! I screamed. Robert's eyes lit up, his gaze like a shark catching the scent of blood. Won what, dear? The lottery? One of those scratch-offs. $5 million. I watched the dollar signs practically sparkle in his eyes. That's wonderful, Mia. We should celebrate. Over the next few days, Robert was sickeningly sweet. He offered to help me claim the winnings, invest the money wisely. I played along, pretending to consider his offers. Finally, the big day arrived. Tom had mocked up fake lottery paperwork, and I made a big show of signing it at the kitchen table. You know, Robert said, his voice dripping with insincerity, as head of the household, I think it's best if I hold on to that ticket for safekeeping. I hesitated, then nodded. Okay, I guess that makes sense. The moment Robert's hand touched the paper, the front door burst open. John stormed in, his face a mask of fury. Behind him was a man in a suit, a real lawyer Tom had convinced to play along. Dad, what the hell are you doing? John roared. Robert stammered, caught red-handed. I was just what? Stealing from Maya, like you've been stealing from me. The lawyer stepped forward. Mr. Thompson, we have evidence of your fraudulent activities, spanning years. I suggest you come with us quietly. Robert's face went pale. In a last desperate move, he lunged for the back door. But Tom was there, blocking Robert's escape. As the officer led a cursing, struggling Robert away, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. John pulled me into a tight embrace. I'm so sorry I didn't believe you at first. It's okay, I murmured. It's over now. But as I watched Robert being driven away, I knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge, rebuilding our lives and our trust, was still to come. The next few days were a whirlwind. With Robert gone, the house felt like a powder keg ready to explode. John was shell-shocked, Linda was a wreck, and I found myself in the middle, trying to hold everything together. Then one afternoon, Joe's phone rang. It was the police station. Robert's gambling debts had finally caught up with him, and he owed some dangerous people more than just money. He's going away for a long time, Don said, hanging up. He looked at me, his eyes full of regret. Maya, I can't believe what you went through. I should have listened to you sooner. I shook my head. What matters is that you know the truth now. In the weeks that followed, we faced the harsh reality of Robert's mess. The house was mortgaged to the hilt, bank accounts were drained, and debt collectors were circling. It was like waking from a nightmare only to find the monsters were still real. In the end, we packed up what little we had and said goodbye to Linda, who was going to stay with her sister to start rebuilding her own life. As for Sean and me, we hit the road, seeking a fresh start. 6 months later, life looked entirely different. John found a job stateside, and I finally started my own small business, something I dreamed of but never had the confidence to pursue. Our new apartment was small, but it was ours. No more walking on eggshells, no more lies. Just us, building the life we deserved. We'd occasionally hear news about Robert. He was serving time, and from what we heard, he wasn't doing well. Part of me felt sorry for him, but a bigger part knew he was finally facing the consequences of his actions. One evening, as Sean and I sat on our tiny balcony, watching the sunset, he turned to me. You know, I never thanked you properly. For what? I asked. leaning into him, for being strong enough to stand up to my father, for not giving up on us. You saved this family, Mia. I took his hand, feeling the sense of peace for the first time in years. We saved each other. As the sky turned pink and gold, I thought about how far we'd come, from a house built on lies to a home grounded in trust and love. It hadn't been easy, and there would still be tough days ahead, but we faced them together, stronger than ever. Robert had tried to tear us apart, but in the end, his betrayal only brought us closer. We'd walk through fire and come out the other side, scared but unbroken. And now we were unstoppable. Asterisk, asterisk. Now, a question for you. Asterisk, asterisk. If you were in Maya's shoes, would you have forgiven Linda for staying silent about Robert's theft? Or was her fear a justifiable reason to keep quiet? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.